Welcome to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel to explore Springboks rugby thinking and modern squad management.
In modern rugby, some teams are not only judged by the number of titles they win, but also by how they are structured, how they operate, and how far ahead they think beyond a single tournament. The South African Springboks, under head coach Rassie Erasmus, are a prime example of this mindset. When looking at the decision to name a 46-man squad, along with the ability to rotate personnel flexibly during the July series, what emerges is not just sporting tactics, but a philosophy of people management, risk management, and expectation management. The first thing that caught my attention was not the number 46, but how that number is used as an open space rather than a fixed limit. In conventional thinking, a squad is a fixed list, those who are selected and those who are left out. But here, the squad looks more like an ecosystem. It is not closed or fixed, but continuously adjusted based on injuries, form, opponents, and even long-term strategy towards Rugby World Cup 2027. This approach completely changes the meaning of being selected. It is no longer a destination, but a temporary state within a longer process. When Rassie Erasmus emphasizes that the current squad is not the full group of players who will be used in July, he is sending a very clear message. Stability does not come from keeping the same individuals, but from maintaining the structure. This is a very deep point. In many sports teams, personnel changes are seen as a sign of instability. But here, change is part of stability. The tactical structure, operating principles, and playing philosophy are what remain constant, while the players are flexible variables. Looking more broadly, this approach reflects an important reality in elite sport. No one can maintain peak performance continuously over a long period without proper rotation. Injuries, fatigue, psychological pressure, all of these are unavoidable factors. Erasmus proactively expanding the squad and preparing multiple options is not indecisiveness, but a mature acceptance of reality. He is not trying to control everything rigidly, but instead adjusting the system to cope with what cannot be controlled. Another notable detail is how the coaching staff monitors injured or rested players. Names such as Lude de Jager or Franco Mostert are not removed from plans, but remain within a strategic observation zone. This shows a long-term view of people. A player is not judged only by their immediate availability, but also by their potential contribution at different stages of the journey. In such a system, a player's value is not confined to the present, but extends across time.
From an emotional perspective, this is both a high-pressure and uniquely fair environment. The pressure comes from nobody having a guaranteed position. But it is fair in the sense that everyone has an opportunity, as long as they fit the moment. This forces players to maintain constant professionalism. They cannot become complacent. At the same time, it reduces the feeling of being discarded when injured, because they are still part of the long-term plan. Stepping outside sport, this model also suggests lessons for managing people in any organization. In work, education, or even social relationships, locking people into fixed and permanent roles can create unnecessary pressure. Conversely, if people are viewed as individuals whose roles can shift over time depending on context and capability, systems become more flexible and resilient to disruption. Another strategic point is Erasmus' allocation of resources based on opponents and fixtures. Not every squad is suitable for every match. Games against England, Scotland, Argentina, or New Zealand each demand different requirements. This highlights a very practical mindset. Strength is not about having the best possible team, but about having the most suitable team for each moment. This is a key difference between fixed thinking and adaptive thinking in modern sport, with congested schedules and extremely high levels of competition. Squad rotation is no longer optional, it is essential. However, not every team executes it well. Some lose cohesion through excessive change, while teams like the Springboks try to maintain a strong tactical backbone so that all changes remain controlled within a framework.
From a personal perspective, there is a lesson here about balancing trust and reality. Trust in players makes them feel valued, but reality requires continuous assessment of performance and contribution. Without trust, a system becomes unstable emotionally. Without reality checks, it becomes stagnant. The balance between the two is crucial. Perhaps the most thought-provoking aspect is how a top team deals with uncertainty. Injuries, form fluctuations, and change are not treated as exceptions, but as normal parts of the system. Instead of trying to eliminate uncertainty, they design a system that can live with it. This is a mature mindset, not only in sport but in life in general. For fans, this can sometimes feel unpredictable. A constantly changing lineup makes it harder to identify a fixed core to connect with. But on a deeper level, this very flexibility keeps the team alive. Each match is not a repetition of the same group of players, but a continuous recreation of a collective. And for people in general, perhaps the most important lesson is this: no position is permanent, but that does not mean a person's value is temporary. Real value lies in adaptability, resilience, and timely contribution. In a fast-changing world, flexibility is no longer an advantage. It is a condition for survival. Looking back at the overall approach of Rassie Erasmus and the Springboks, it is not just a rugby story. It is a model of thinking about how to organize people in uncertain environments. A model where change does not break the system, but is precisely how the system survives. And perhaps the key takeaway is not the 46-man squad itself, but how they redefine the concept of a squad, not a list of names, but a continuous flow of people, roles, and timing.
Hello and see you again. Don't forget to subscribe to keep exploring Springboks thinking and modern squad management.